What's going on, guys? We're gonna go off the top with this, but I just wanted to jump right in because I hear a lot of masculine and feminine talk in the conscious community and the subconscious community. So I think that it's important that we try to get under our belt the things that we're trying to define as feminine and the things that we're trying to define as masculine. Now, I see a lot of things that we're defining as what is feminine energy geared directly towards a woman, and what is masculine energy directly geared towards a man. And when I say a woman, I mean a woman in 3D. Or when we're talking about a masculine, we're always talking about a man in 3D. And I just want to make a point that by the time the energy creates the physical form is a specific task, a specific mission, a specific direction. It's not a behavior, if you will. Sometimes behavior comes into play, but it's not all about behaviors and niches that one or the other agrees or disagrees with. It's more so about what is your divine purpose and whether or not you are living within your purpose. If you manifested a female body, if you manifested a womanly body, or you decided to create your daughter body, Uriel likes to call them the daughters of men. But if you are in your feminine body, you are here to bear fruit, to bear seeds. Now, we all bear fruit, but you're here to, let me rephrase, you're here to cultivate a seed, more so. And to pass through the final stage of that specific seed going through your yoni space. But males have a yoni space too. It's just different. But the seed, the sperm, has to go through multiple different stages before it exits out of that masculine world, or it could be a feminine world. Okay, but before it passes through in 3D, that masculine world, and then into your mother. So I want everybody to understand that spirituality is androgynistic. Your spirit is androgynous. Now, like I said, the form that it chose to manifest in 3D, that's the mission that your spirit chose to fulfill. But it doesn't mean that you can't have feminine qualities. It doesn't mean that just because you're within a masculine body, you can't be more feminine. Just because you may have certain concepts that are geared towards your sex, your 3D sex, but usually those are concepts that are given to you, probably to help promote an ideology, such as geocentrism versus heliocentrism. Heliocentrism was directly created to push the masculine agenda, to push patriarchy, right? Because it was all in support of the sun, and the sun being the greatest masculine thought, and so on and so forth. So they started recreating maps, redesigning intellectual properties like the Bible, and started giving them out as systems of social control to start redirecting people's thought process towards how we see society. But it doesn't mean that it was exact in its way of trying to guide people You know, like I said a few minutes ago, they created this idea to support a goal. You know, so you know, my man Duran Bernard said recently. I mean, he hit the nail on the head on a Joe Budden podcast when he was stating that being gay is a concept, just like being masculine is a concept. Well, being feminine is a concept as well too, you know. But I think what we consider feminine is the concept, but in reality, to be what we truly resonate with as far as femininity, I think that's pretty pure, you know. Because what does it mean to what are we calling things to be masculine and feminine? We're calling femininity to be things that require introspection, you know, investigation, anything diving within, divination, you know, anything that involves you going within spirit before you present them outward. You know, even when you look at a light or you look at symbols, these are all, they're all energy that is going within a specific direction, that's being shot out towards you or being pushed out towards you. That's how we literally see anyway, you know. But this idea of what came first, whether it was femininity or masculinity, it really that in of itself should not matter, because they both have to exist within the same time frame. So that just goes to let you know that all things, probably just as much as they are feminine, they are masculine. Now I know that in the physical realm, in the 3D realm, all things start off feminine before they become masculine, or before they choose to become masculine, because masculinity is a mechanism, or is a specific trait that is used to carry out a specific mission, and that is to drive, that is to give a space direction. Hence the penis. You know, when you're just in your mother's womb, we all go through a phase where we are all feminine before your genetics or your hormones tell your body to create a penis, or to invert the yoni space and then turn it into a penis. But we're all of feminine nature, and I believe that is because, or I should say, I know, and I think we should all know, and we better know, for being in this world. But I know some people are going to think differently. But all things come from femininity, because femininity is the space. That's why they call it Mother Earth, because this is the space that we're in. And the masculine helps protect, helps give it life, helps to cultivate it from the outside, while things are nurtured from the inside. So it's like I nurture it, I push it out, and then what I push out helps give beautification back internally. Okay, so real quick, in this specific video, I wanted to touch on certain signs, certain astrological signs that give off androgynistic vibes. Okay, so and I'm going to create way more videos, and I'm going to always say that, but I want you guys to keep in mind these androgynistic aspects, okay, because we all have them. You have all 12 zodiac chakras within you. You are a makeup of all of them, whether they're in your houses or whether they're in your zodiac. Now, they might not be in your zodiac chakras, but they're in your house chakras, because we all had to go through all 12 in order to even manifest into this realm. So, but I just want to throw some out there. right? Just to give you something to think about, because this specific video was not supposed to be that long. I'm going to make another video talking about the same thing, talking, you know, debunking the masculine and this masculine versus feminine talk that's in this conscious community, subconscious community. But I want to talk about this right here, the androgynous signs. Geminis, masculine and feminine. Cancers, masculine and feminine. Libras, masculine and feminine. Sagittariuses, masculine and feminine. Capricorns, masculine and feminine. And Pisces are masculine and feminine. I know now what is leading in each sign might be different. So in Gemini is considered masculine Mercury, right? But the duality of the dichotomy of Gemini is usually between a masculine entity and then a feminine entity within oneself. One usually disperses more of its feminine introspection, and then the other side, when it decides to switch to its other side, how parallel it uses its energy is neither here nor there, but it may switch from a feminine and then it'll go back into its masculine. You'll always, the projection is itself is always going to be masculine. See, we're always going from micro to macro, back to micro, back to macro. That's how energies work. Y'all got to understand. And if you watch Archangel Uriel, you're going to get a really, I mean, because he has a really nice breakdown on this, but you're always going in and out. Chakras are always in and out like this. That's why this masculine feminine talk is very asinine, but you're always going in and out of your chakras. You're going in and out of your masculine energy. And you demonstrate this whenever you're interacting with another person. Hell, even when you're interacting with yourself, you have moments where you're more internal, and you have moments where you're more external. When you're dealing with a person who has the opposite energy of you, you switch. If you have emotional intelligence, it's wise for you to switch to whatever energy is more befitting for that relationship. So that way, that whatever is the goal of that relationship, you will find yourself successful. You get what I'm saying? But that key note brings me right back to these signs, right? Because if you notice, if you pay attention to a Gemini, now they're mutable. They use their swiftiness, their mental swiftness of being able to jump in and out of those concepts. They jump into their feminine bag depending on who they're talking to. They jump into their masculine bag depending on who they're talking to. And they use mind, body, and spirit, whether they're aware of it or not. This is just their nature. Whether they're aware of them using the Mercury, their tether cord, they naturally do this. You're here to learn what it is that you are doing in order to fully fulfill your role. But no matter what, this is what their ego is focused on. Okay, they just have an affinity of doing that. That's innate inside of Geminis, for them to switch back and forth between their masculine and feminine. Cancers. Now, Cancer likes to represent itself in the moon. It likes to represent itself in the moon. So in nature, it represents itself feminine. But in reality, Cancer is it displays its energy in a masculine way. Jupiter is the exaltation. So Jupiter is masculine. because Jupiter is dealing with expansion. So if femininity represents the space, when you are giving direction to that space, now you're expanding the space by default. So you're traveling in a sense. So Cancer is both masculine and feminine by default. It's more masculine in when you're experiencing Cancers, okay? But they're very feminine in nature. But their thoughts and their actions are very masculine. They're cardinal water. So cardinality, majority of the time, with the exception of Capricorn, when exerting energy, they may go within, but by the time they push it out, anything that is pushed out is masculine. You understand what I'm saying? But they do a lot of introspect. Everything is diving deep, like even in the midst of it. So Cancers are truly androgynistic. They are truly androgynistic. Like they are within their feminine, but then they're exerting their femininity outward for you to experience, and that's masculine. That in of itself is masculine. Libras, just like Cancers, they're doing the same thing damn near, you know, where they're constantly weighing which energy should I utilize for this specific circumstance. You know, cardinal air, that emotional intelligence. You know, Geminis kind of get this from Libras, where, you know, Libras are always weighing each and every circumstance, even within themselves, before you experience it. You know, and Venus being its home for the appreciation of things, you know, this helps with Libra's introspection. It's not so much that, you know, because you'll see on a very basic level when people talk about astrology, or you see